Just let your soul glow.
Welcome to the Soul Shift Sessions podcast, where we dive deep into transformative conversations that empower you to elevate your mindset, break through limitations, and create the life you truly desire.
Hosted by Coach Sapphire, Starr, and Coach McCloud, this podcast is your go-to source for actionable insights, inspiring stories, and expert advice on personal growth, financial freedom, and living with purpose.
Each episode is designed to help you shift your mindset, overcome obstacles, and embrace a life of abundance and fulfillment. Whether you're looking to transform your relationship with money, enhance your well-being, or unlock your full potential, the Soul Shift Sessions will guide you on your journey.
Welcome to another episode of Soul Shift Session Podcast. And this is not just another episode. This is season 2. Oh my God. Season 2 of Soul Shift Session Podcast, where we have deep, transformative conversation to help you transform your mind, to transform your life. I am your favorite freedom and financial life coach, Coach Sapphire, Starr, and my favorite co-host. He's the running champion of my favorite co-host, Coach
McCloud.
Yes. Oh my God. We are season 2. This has been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And thank God that we are here. And I thought it to be apropos for my fit for today is to bring in season 2 with one of our favorite guests. I think our most quoted guest on the podcast.
It's gotta be.
Miss Be More Raw. And my favorite rawism is pronoia, the belief that the universe is conspiring in your favor.
In my favor. Yes. Now, I know that's your favorite one. Yeah, I know that's your favorite one, but it's not the one that I find myself using in everyday life.
Yeah, everybody wins for me.
The one that I'm using in everyday life for me is you gotta let them live their life. You gotta let them live their life. You know, that's their life.
Absolutely. Like, make sure you guys go check out
on all levels.
I was about to go her website, bemoraw.com, if you want to pick up you a rawism.
That's the letter B, M-O-R-A-W.
B.com. And while we're on websites, if you want to join the Soul Shift Session Tribe or you want to become a guest on the show, make sure you visit our website at soulshiftsessions.com. Again, that's www.soulshiftsessions.com. Now, our first season, last episode, we talked about the greatest love of all.
Yes.
If you haven't checked out the podcast, make sure you go check it out. Listen to it. It's amazing. It's profound. It's prolific. All the P's, right? And so to start season 2, we're going to just bring that full circle, bring it back around and finding your soulmate. I see your mind racing. What's going on, sir?
Because
what's going on? Soulmate.
You're literally opening up a can of worms here. Okay, so
let's go.
Because when you talk about soulmates, you have to even understand what a soulmate even is, and I feel like soulmates are different definitions for different people. So I want to hear yours because you raised your hand, so I'm calling on you. Yes, Coach Sapphire Starr. What would you like to say?
Because I believe there's a misconception, honestly, when it comes to what a soulmate is.
Yes.
And I think it would be great to start the episode with what's the textbook definition.
Let's start there.
You just kind of
Please.
Yeah, start there and we'll delve into how we feel and what we think and all the good things.
I'm ready.
Okay, so textbook
What's the source?
definition.
What's the source so that way our people can know where we're coming from with textbook.
Google?
We're going on the Google, gang. On the Google.
How about Webster? How about that? Okay. A soulmate is a person with whom someone feels a deep natural connection, often characterized by profound understanding, shared values, and a sense of compatibility. Essentially considered to be a perfect match and a soul lever. It can refer to a romantic partner, close friend, or someone who significantly impacts your life in a positive way. Although the concept is often associated with romantic love.
Often, but not
Exclusively. No.
exclusively. I love that word. Not exclusively. Okay. So a
No.
soulmate is someone who has a deep impact on my life. Right.
Yes.
We share the same values. What else do we share?
Same values, shared values, a sense of compatibility, and characterized by profound understanding.
I mean, that's pretty deep, right? Because you don't have that with everyone, right?
No.
And
No.
it doesn't mean exclusive in regards to romance, but it also doesn't mean exclusive in regards to the soulmate.
What do you mean by that?
Because you can, or at least the way it sounds based off of your definition, that I can have more than one soulmate.
Of course. Yeah. It's not exclusive, just only one person.
Right. And that's what I'm
Because
saying.
it's not just romantic.
Right.
It can be a romantic partner. It can be a close friend, a confidant. Honestly, as I'm reading it, it's a relationship that there is deep understanding, shared values, and deep respect for the person. But
Yes.
to your point, what you said earlier, you're not going to get that with everyone. So even though it's not exclusive to a romantic partner,
Right.
it's still very rare.
It's a short
to
list.
find.
It's a short list, right? And not only is it a short list, there are some elements that I'm hearing that are not mentioned there that I think is like, and includes. For example, it also includes a level of safety, right? Because if you are my soulmate, then in my weakest moments or in my most vulnerable moments, I'm hearing that I should be able to trust you with that level of vulnerability and you hold it safely for me. Now, that does open up a whole nother avenue, right? Because what happens when you believe this person is your soulmate and then you are vulnerable with them, and then whatever you shared, they can't handle it?
I don't think, personally,
Yeah.
it's the responsibility of the soulmate to hold what you're carrying in a sense of expectations of how they process it. But I do think there's a line where it should be, like you say, a safe space to share. Now, when you take it a step further and say, well, what they do with it, that's a whole nother avenue with that. But
I guess what I mean there is when you share something that's very vulnerable to the point where it's like a risk. It feels like a risk in the sharing. And what I mean by that person not being able to hold it, meaning that, well, let me give you an example. Let's say that I tell you, Star, there ain't nothing you could tell me that would cause me to not want you in my life no more. Like, there's nothing you could tell me, right? Like, we listen and we don't judge, right? Like, that is what I'm saying.
A tall order. That's a tall order to
It's a
say.
tall order. It is a tall order. And if I share this thing with you and then you're like, we can't be friends no more.
Oh, now that's not cool.
That's what I
That's
mean by not being able to hold it, though.
well, yeah, if you're cutting things off, I thought you meant like helping you work through it and helping you find solutions or helping
I
you
don't know about
navigate through that.
I don't know about the helping of the finding solutions, but sometimes like you need your person to be able to walk you through that dark place. They may not have to guide you to that dark place, but at least be there with you because that's what my at least in my mind, that's what that your person that you are being vulnerable with is capable of doing.
I don't think that's fair to put expectations on relationship because then it becomes conditional. And is that really truly a soulmate situation when if they don't necessarily live up to whatever expectation
Yeah.
you've created in your head for them, then it's like, oh, well, no, we can't be friends or this doesn't work for anymore. I don't think that's fair. That's just like romantic relationships, right? Because, on the other side of that, like we talking about it being mostly romantic, but it's very much possible to be in a romantic relationship and that person is not your soulmate. They're
Oh,
not
absolutely.
someone that you're compatible with. They're not someone that you share value with. It should be, but a lot of people are in romantic relationships and that person ain't their person.
And I also think that you can be in a relationship and that person is not your soulmate, but you can also have a very successful relationship with that person. It may not be just soulmate, but based off of the values that you share and the level of partnership that you have, that person may not be a soulmate, but they are your person.
So let's say the person that's your person, you don't have profound understanding of each other. You don't have shared values, and there's not a sense of
Well, they're like
compatibility.
I do believe that in order to be in relationship with someone romantically, that there has to be some level of shared values.
Some level,
There's gotta
some level,
be.
yeah.
There's gotta be. And if you think about it, there are plenty.
Real. I said, let's go ahead.
Well, I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say that there are plenty of marriages that happened out of an arrangement. And they lived together and someone eventually died. Right. Like they were married until one other person was put in the ground. Now, only that couple can actually say whether they married their soulmate, but I just feel like statistically that all these couples that last this long, they're not 100% soulmates, but they found a way to make that partnership work.
Right, the effort, yeah,
Yeah.
based on other criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And
that's
I
I think
think
it's
there was some
important
shared
to
values.
yeah, and I think it's important to make that distinction because we assume that the soulmate is a romantic partner, but your romantic partner could very well not be your soulmate. But that doesn't mean that you don't have soulmates or a soulmate in your life that fulfill that soul desire that you have as a human being. Because really the important part of it is the humanity part of it is the connection and being able to have a connection with someone. I think it's very important that we, in some way, some shape, some form, we find our soulmate. I
How do
think
you
it's
do that
essential
though?
for who? That's a good question. And that's the topic, the title of the show.
You notice that I asked you because I didn't have the answer, right? So I believe that
Honest,
it's you first, and I'm only about to talk. So you go ahead and say it.
yes. I believe it's a process, just like anything else. And I believe the first step to finding your soulmate, and that's going back to the last episode of season 1, is finding the greatest love of all, which is self,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Once you find that self-love,
Yeah.
self-awareness,
Yeah.
because how can you have a profound understanding with someone else if you don't understand who you are, what you want, what is your values? So it's very important to first seek thy self-love. That's the start. I believe it starts there. And then as we're on the journey, it becomes like, okay, let me begin and speaking to what you always speak about, community, surrounding myself with like-minded people. That's the start, I believe, to finding your soulmate, is putting yourself in circles and spaces with people, but also speaking to what you always speak about again is the power of vulnerability. Because how can someone even come into that space and be a soulmate if you're not willing to be vulnerable because of fear of rejection, fear of them saying, well, I'm not going to be your friend anymore? It has to be a level of vulnerability, but also a level of freedom of, you know what, if you did walk out my life, I'm okay with that because I had the experience of having a soulmate at a particular time of my life.
All right. I can't even say anything on top of that. Okay. Because
I quote you a lot, so you did kind of say something. I use your words.
like you got me unable to speak right now.
And that's wow. That's what was that, man?
That was so well put, right? Because that freedom, you don't know if you really have that freedom until you take the risk in saying what there is to say. But you
Yeah.
also speak about having this wholeness and completeness about yourself. Because a lot of times, at least when I was growing up with the concept thinking that I'm a half and I'm looking for another half, and together we make a whole, right? Instead of a whole and a whole making something completely new.
Yes.
And if you're a whole matched up with another whole, WHOLE gang, but
Bang.
WHOLE apostrophe S's come together, right? You end up
Like I knew what you were talking about, but then when you felt that, when you clarified, I was like, oh, I didn't even think about like, oh, I got hope. I got hope.
I wanted to make
And
sure we're
different.
very clear as far as the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
so when two whole pieces come together and create something new, um, it really is amazing what can happen, because then you're talking about a level of partnership. Even like if this person is not someone you're romantically involved with, but there's a level of partnership where you're not just one, you are now two. And when you are two, exponentially, you can make things happen exponentially better or faster, because the two have come together and the two are aligned with whatever it is that they're aligned with. Maybe they're coming together for a business opportunity together. Maybe they are starting a life together. Or maybe that one is or the two are coming together and just so well aligned that it's like, who knows what we're going to create, but together we're going to make something, and
Yes.
and like, I've never claimed for you to be my soulmate, right? However, if you look at the timeline of one might argue that we have some soulmate-ish stuff going on. Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, coming together, like we came together to do this podcast, and two people coming together to create something that was never created and born before,
Right.
while inspiring, empowering people. Like
Right.
it's soulmate adjacent.
It's soulmate adjacent, right? And like there are always these things that are unfolding, like you deliberately took me on a journey with you getting this new house, right? Whether I wanted to go on the journey or not, that wasn't even like a factor. It's like you are
I didn't even know it was deliberate. It was like, this is my life. Here you go.
right. And you grabbed me by the hand and you took me through the whole thing, right? And it was beautiful to watch. And it's like, I literally felt like I got a chance to be behind the curtain of an entire investment process. And it was educational. It was fun to watch. It was actually interesting watching you go through some of the challenges that you were experiencing along the way. And your attitude about those challenges was the same as it is now. Smile on your face and just walking through it. The words might be like, hey, these people gonna make me do something to them. But said it with a smile on your face. I like it. But you still did it. And like you did it with this high vibration attitude. That's what it was. Like I never saw you coming down in a place emotionally that would be considered dark, right? And so you just faced every challenge, said what you had to say about what you thought about the challenge in the moment, and you just kept it moving. And then, we go from like, this house is on sale. I need to get this house to you got the house and it's like, now I need to get it up on the market. I'm giving myself 2 weeks. And
And a whole ass snowstorm. Like,
let's
what?
not forget that Mother Nature said, I'd like a piece of this action
In the middle of a snowstorm in Georgia.
in Georgia. No, let's not even just say Georgia. That aren't you considered like South Georgia? Like this is
Southeast on the coast,
Georgia.
tropical weather,
Close
Georgia,
enough to
Savannah.
Florida type of
Yes.
and sure enough, you got it handled. And so, and as your friend, I was just deeply grateful for the opportunity to watch you go through that particular process and learn whatever there was for me to learn in the process of it. So definitely aligned. And, like I'll tell you what, hey, if you think you could do it, then doggone it, what are we doing next? What are we doing to make this happen into fruition, right?
Well, believe me.
Right. You never see me try to talk you out of anything. Like if you talk about a discount, I'm like, discount for what? They don't need no discount for you. Right? You asked me about something, I wrote a whole letter saying that the price is the price. Right? Like,
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm so glad because I live my life in such a way it's like real time is happening. And like you said, I keep it moving. And I'm so glad because I did get to a point of like, I was starting to like the light was slowly dimming. Like I was getting like exhausted and overwhelmed. But I love that and not intentionally, but just I love that you were able to regurgitate and remind me where I came from because I'm not thinking about those processes once I've gone through them. But when you said that, girl, I remember when you said I'm a badass the street, I was like, man, you're right. That really, it grounded me. It really did. It was like a turning point where, because I was going this way
yeah.
and you were like, no, like, you're right. And I picked back up where I was and it just it lifted me up in such a way to remind me of where I come from and celebrating the now, celebrating the wins,
Yeah.
and knowing that it's a beautiful thing. Like, and I appreciate that because when I heard, I was like, you're right. I wasn't thinking about that at all because I had already went through it. And I really appreciate you saying those things, whether you realize or not. It made such a tremendous difference as I was navigating through the process.
If you hadn't said it, I would have never known that.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never known
yeah.
that.
It made such a big, yeah.
Well, you know what? It is interesting. I think that there is this dynamic that friends have where when you are in it and you are up to your ears in it, that having that voice to remind you, like, by the way, you are well on your way. You don't see how far you've come because you're in it, but let me be the rear view mirror for you and show you how far you've
Yes,
come in regards to what you said you wanted to versus what you are getting in the moment, you know? And
absolutely.
so without it, I think we all need somebody that can act as the rear view mirror, but in a positive way, right? Because you know there's gonna be people that's gonna be the rear view mirror for every opportunity that you said
You
you're gonna
go
take
way
advantage
more.
of. Right, right, right. Like, hey, remember that business you said you was gonna start? Remember that? You remember that time you said the scam going on there, and I told you that that was a pyramid scheme, and like, I'm not talking about those friends or those family members. Those are not the soulmates, okay? Just so you know. But
Yeah, no.
the ones that are saying, you know what, let's go get it. They not even doing nothing in the let's go, but they are with you in spirit. Like, let's go get it. You know, if you like it, I love it.
It makes a difference. Words hold
Yeah.
power, and just like negative words can traumatize us and we hold it forever
Right.
and ever, and then we gotta go to a therapist to
Right.
unpack it. Positive words have even more power than that, and something that we can hold on to. That's the power of community. That's the power of finding your soulmate or your soulmates
Right.
to help you navigate through this thing called life, because I can't imagine doing life without the people that have come into my life. And some of them are no longer even in my life,
Right.
but they still hold a place and a space that has helped me get from point A to point Z. And I value that tremendously, because soulmates doesn't, another thing too, soulmates aren't forever. It's not
Nothing
infinity. It
is,
could be,
right?
but it's
Well,
right. Like
I
it,
mean,
but
we're
it's,
speaking about
yeah.
spiritual energy. You know, if we believe that we do not pass, but we don't go into oblivion, but we believe that our spirit carries on, then I think it's possible that that as a spiritual being that you've probably been connected for eons, right?
Yeah.
However,
Yes.
and if that is true, that means that when we come back to this earth, that you just gotta find your way back to that connection, right? And so it's very possible that the people that are your soulmates are the ones that are those ancient connections that you've had for
The essence.
who knows, right? Like, I don't
Who knows?
know, but I will say
Yeah.
this: I like the idea of believing in it. I enjoy how
Absolutely.
it feels when I think that our spirits have been connected for, you know, long before these fleshly shells house them.
Hmm.
So
Yes. And think about this, like everything is energy, whether you
Mhm.
believe that or not. That's what reality is. Everything is energy. And the law of thermodynamics states that energy is neither created or destroyed,
Mhm.
it's transferred.
Mhm.
And so you think about the people, the interaction, the things that you come across, that energy is there. You feel it. And I remember driving down the street the other day and this random thought, and maybe it wasn't random, it came to me. And I thought, man, it's kind of weird that there were people in my life that walked this earth with me are no longer on this earth walking with me.
Mhm.
Like they passed on. And
Mhm.
it's like, that really had me pondering, like, not how is it, but it really had me just like, there was a pause, like,
Yeah.
wow. Because sometimes it doesn't feel like they're not here.
Mhm.
Sometimes it feels like they're still here,
Yeah.
but then something may remind you, like, oh, they're physically not here, but there's
Right.
still a feeling
Yeah.
that there's feeling that their presence is still with us. The essence of who they are is still with us.
And taking some joy in knowing that it can be like healing for the soul, because it's
Yeah.
like now I don't feel like, even though they're not physically, if I believe that they're not physically here, but their spirit has lived on and their spirit is around all the time, that can be very comforting, because it's like, well, maybe this is just a matter of I'm trying to access that relationship in a way that doesn't work. And what I mean by that is, you and I can see you, I can talk to you. We have technology that allows us to be connected, right? But when someone has passed on, these traditional ways of being connected don't work. So maybe it's where my dreams lie. Maybe it's in my meditative space. Right? Maybe it's where I go when I'm not, like, when my body's physically here, but my mind has gone somewhere else. Maybe that's where those connections are.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. And we even talk about it jokingly, but I think it's a real thing, like how we're like sending subliminal messages to each other
How
without
often has this
this
happened? How
so
often?
often.
Right? To the point where it's like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, did you not catch the vibe through the air? Like, we actually get annoyed a little bit when it's like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, we're supposed
You
to be
don't know.
connected. Like, you're supposed to be
And we
able to.
have those moments. Yeah, and we do have those moments where it's like we didn't say anything to each other, but there was an understanding. It was like as if there was a physical communication, and it was just energy,
But we be
you
right on the
know?
same page. It's like there was nothing
Same.
physically spoken. We haven't even been on the phone yet, but we're still on the same.
There's a no.
There have been times where the clothes have complimented each other and we spoke nothing about it, right? But this is what we're doing
Yes,
today, right? And so,
yes, yes.
it
And I
really.
love the. Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I've lived in Mexico, and I love the culture,
Mhm.
and I love the Dia de los Muertos, where the Day of the Dead, where it's a celebration
Yeah.
of those who, in honoring of those who are no longer here with us, but this belief that there's somewhere and we're gonna connect
Yeah.
again is such a beautiful celebration, and I love that. But it kind of speaks what we were talking about, that they may not be physically here with us, but the presence and essence of who they are is here. And I know
Yeah.
some people hold shrine, some people hold spaces
Right.
for their ancestors so they can be
Yeah.
reminded. I feel like it's like an altar or something. It's a reminder of who, the people in our lives are and the power that they hold. And even for me, I deal with death a little differently, I believe, than because everybody deal with grief and death differently.
Yes.
For me, I take it as a picking up of the torch and continuing the celebration and reminding people of the person that's no longer here, but
Mhm.
living my life in such a way that will make them very much proud because their blood is running through my veins.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I
So
take
much,
pride in that.
so much, so much to say there. As far as ancestral goes, when I went to the Black History Museum in DC,
Oh,
it made it so clear what we're made out of. Because if you think about it, the ones that did not survive the trip, we cannot be their direct ancestors because they didn't make it. So unless someone was pregnant on the way, but
yeah, by blood, they're
right.
connected.
But
They snatched the whole family.
But at the end of the day, you come from the ones that made it over and the ones that survived through those
Right.
times. So that means that your genetic makeup Like, you were literally born for this. Like, whatever the challenges you experience, you were literally born for it. Like, you can handle it. And so,
Yes.
because of that, like, my experience there helped me understand that there's not a single challenge that we're experiencing in today's world that we have not already, down to the DNA level, been already prepared for.
Absolutely. It is in our cellular DNA. It's in our DNA.
Right.
And not just the victorious part of it, but also the trauma of it. Because,
Yeah.
you know, some people are quick to say, oh, well, that was then. And
Oh,
this is
it's now
now.
too. Oh, no, it's now too.
Things in your cells is perpetuated, is passed down. You
Right.
act a certain way because mama and them and grandmama and them act a certain way because of the conditions of which they
Right.
lived in. They pass that on because survival of the fittest, right, is a part of
Yeah.
evolution.
Yeah.
So that's in your DNA, that's in your blood, right? But it is also deciphering and differentiating those things and working through those feelings that we feel. Because sometimes you feel something, you're like, why feel that? Like, I've never even experienced
Yeah.
a thing and I'm in it and I feel a certain kind of way. Like, why am I feeling it as if I've been through it before?
Well, and not only that, but I'm sure there are people that have come across your life and you're like, why do I feel extremely connected to that person? And I just met that person. Like, I don't even know this person, but yet there's something that has a deeper connection than what I was initially expecting, right? And like, when I'm speaking to you about this, I'm thinking about one of my friends who, he identified me so fast. When I say so fast, I mean so fast that
What do you
he,
mean by identify you?
as his brother, identified me as his brother because we
Oh,
we had not met. I was still relatively new to Jacksonville, and I noticed that he was talking to me different than the other people in the organization that we were part of. And there was almost like this kinship that we both could sense, even though we had just met. We've been best friends since, like, to this day, right? That,
like, oh, sorry.
right, like, it was so amazing. Now, the funny thing is, though, there is still this aspect of how I see you. And what I mean by that is, like, I see you, a Sapphire Star, a certain way. And because I see you that way, there may be behaviors that I may think that you're going to exhibit or that you have that you may not actually have, because it's just being stemmed from the way that I see you, right? And so it's the same thing. We do the same things to each other, except that there are times where he is not as accurate as I am. And so what I mean by that is, he would see me as this shining light of, and I put it this way, if I were to compare it to a superhero, he would probably have compared me to Sam Wilson, from who is Falcon, who is like Captain America's, that's his boy, right? He would have compared me to that. And Tice was like, there are some aspects about Sam that it's just not in me, right? Like, he cares about way more things than I care about. Like, he cares in such a way that, and the funny thing is, like, one time we were going to do something for someone, and he was like, I was like, why are we doing this? And he's like, because it's their birthday, it's this, that, the other. I said, yeah, but why are we doing this? Right. Can it be somebody else? Like, why does it have to be you and, right?
I absolutely love that.
There are times people tend to think of me more on the Jedi side, and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably more on the mercenary side. But probably
I
closest.
definitely don't see. I don't see a mercenary.
Well, I shouldn't say mercenary. That's probably not accurate. However, if you were to compare Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, I'm probably closer to Han Solo. Let's ride. Let's
I
go
was
have
thinking
some
more
fun.
Luke. Oh,
Let's go ride. Let's go
okay.
have some fun. Luke got all this like questions about purpose and am I this? Look, I want to go fly the spaceship and go have adventures, maybe get in a little bit of trouble, then find our way out of that trouble, like, and you know what? I wouldn't mind getting paid along the way while I'm having,
You like, if you're not dying, you're not living.
right? If you're not playing, Luke
And
can't really roll like that. Like Luke is not,
it's very safe.
yeah, he's
Very safe.
safe. He's dreaming about the stars and wanting to go out there and do something wonderful with his life and have this purpose and this mission. Look, can we just go have some fun? Let's go have some fun.
Right. Right. Let's have some fun.
Let's go do some stuff. Are we gonna get in trouble? Maybe. We might.
That's me. That's me. Did you see that meme I sent you on Instagram? Like, if you know we're in a serious situation, why would you look at
Why
me?
would you look at me? Is that not us? Stop. Is that not us? Like you have said this a long time ago. If we went to a silent retreat at the same, you
We
told me
get
I
out.
couldn't even go. You couldn't
Well,
even
no.
come.
Because even in silence, don't look at me.
And it's my fault that we got kicked the silent retreat. But you're the one who laughed. I just looked at you. That's all.
Listen, guys, we're going to do this. We're going to conduct this experiment in real time, and we're going to take you guys along the journey, and maybe we can find one shorter than 10 days. But is it 10 days? Yeah, I think it's 10 days. We're going to find one. It's 10 days. We can do 10 days, but
together.
we'll take you on a journey with us as this, experiment to see if we can not get put out the silent meditation retreat. So we'll keep you posted on that. And a confession.
I'm listening.
So when we, coming up with the topic for the podcast and finding your soulmate, it was like, because I'm single, happily single.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I want to find my person. I want to find my boo. And I want to know how to find that person.
Yeah.
And that is how the mindset I came into this conversation. But I feel like it took on something much greater, far greater than just that.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's allowing me to reflect on the soulmates that are in my life that aren't romantic. And I love that for me because I've gotten so much more out of this podcast than I even came in here with. But can we help? Can we help me find my person?
Do you really want to find a person, or do you just need the benefits that come with these people, right? With that person, right? Because
both.
I mean,
yeah, it's both. And honestly, like I said, what I've gotten out of this podcast was an opportunity to honor and celebrate the soulmates that are in my life. Like it is really refreshing. It's really like, oh, okay, you're on a journey, to find that person. But you have people in your life that you have profound understanding with. You have shared values with. You have compatibility with.
Right.
And that is to be honored and celebrated and upholded while I'm in this journey. This makes the journey that much more exciting. And like we always say, the joy is in the journey of finding my romantic soulmate. Because I want my soulmate, my romantic partner
to be your
my
soulmate. Right. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Because
universe, you heard?
Hey, if your soulmate is also your physical mate too, I can't even imagine
joy.
what that would be like. And the challenge, not so much a challenge, but society will have you thinking that it can't be both. Society will have you thinking that you're either getting married for money or you're getting married for love, right? Like the two don't go together. And that's just not true.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. And how do you feel like on the other side of this conversation has your perspective or view of soulmate shift in any way? Because I know at the beginning you was like, "Ugh, this is taking me
Well,
on a
it's
ride," but
because, all right, so first of all, no. Like my
okay.
view, if anything, is probably more of a confirmation of those thoughts of what I believe a soulmate is. Um, I do believe that there is this, oh, what's the word? I didn't think before this conversation or before even like really doing the work around like understanding what a soulmate is, I felt bad when I had like a person that was not my soulmate, right? Like I'm in a romantic relationship, but that person is not my soulmate. And I was thinking that you have to have both
Both.
in order for things to be okay. And so it wasn't until I did some more work and some research to find out like, oh, your soulmate can be your best friend. Your soulmate
Yeah.
could be someone that you haven't even met yet. Your soulmate
Yeah.
can be someone that is no longer with you. You know, it's like there were so many areas out there. And it's like, all right, so where does the romantic side of the equation, where does that play into this? And it doesn't have to. It
Right.
may or it may not. And let's not even go down the vein of the concept of twin flames. That's a whole other conversation in itself.
We could do a podcast on that. Yeah.
Just on that alone, right? And so I'll let you lead
Oh,
that one because you are a little more educated in that area than I am. So you can lead that. And then I didn't even pay any credence to the actual birth signs until I met you. You know, I always chalk that up to just some mumbo jumbo. And then you started telling me about myself. And I was like, and well, yeah, maybe it's not mumbo jumbo because here she come reading my street, you know, telling me the street signs, telling me what the paint is on the road,
or it's all there. The
right?
court. Yeah.
What
The
the
screen.
names of the streets are that I'm on, what my
Yeah.
house number
Yeah.
is on that street. Like when you started doing
Yeah.
all that, I was maybe there is.
Maybe there's more to this.
Maybe there's more to this than what I'm picking up on. You
Yeah.
know, one thing that I wanted to add to this conversation that almost escaped me was the role that modern religion can play in this. And so what I mean by that is we talked about having access or having that energy never dies and it just transforms. And there I saw this comedian talk about Christianity, and she's like, you know, she found out that Southern Christianity is different than where she's from because she's Catholic. And she's like, she said, she asked someone, or someone asked, she's like, are you a Christian? And she's like, yeah, I'm Catholic. She's like, oh, okay, well, we're Christians down here. But they weren't acknowledged that Catholicism was even a part of Christianity, right? And bro, and she's like, you know, I have found out that that they have direct access to Jesus. They can talk to him whenever you want. Like, she's like me, like, if I got this problem, I gotta talk to this saint. If I got this problem, I gotta talk to like apparently Jesus is busy, okay, in Catholicism. Like
Listen, you know, you got the Old Testament saints, and then you got the New Testament saints. So
have you
There's a difference in of
it's like, have you talked to Jesus's mom? Because you probably don't need to talk to Jesus directly. You should probably take this up to
to
Mary.
talk to mama.
Talk to his
Take it
mother.
to his mama.
His mama
Yes.
will set you straight. But it does acknowledge energy being transformed, if you think about it. Because it like talk to Mary, talk to St. Peter, go talk to St. Mark, go talk to St. Luke, go talk to them, right?
All the same. Yeah.
But it's acknowledging that they're not gone, that they're still there too.
It's still there. Yeah, that's true. That's true. For you to have a conversation, right?
Yeah, if I'm going
Yeah.
to pray to Mary over the same thing like 10 times, 10 Hail Marys. First of all, what did I do? What did I do that I got to give Mary the same? Like, she don't hear it the first time? Like, I got to do it. I got to call her. I got to hail her 10 times?
You gonna get us canceled. Cause you know what my mind going. My mind is going. I say I'm like, I don't say nothing because we're gonna get canceled. This our second season. At least get to season 10 and then we like balls to the wall. You know what I'm saying? But season 2, you know,
I just never understood it. I just never
I know.
understood. Having been a part, I was a Catholic for a short period of time, and I
Go.
just was.
Yeah, my aunt was Catholic and I used to go to mass as a kid. So there's a lot of questions I had. A lot. Like,
Well, one thing is for
yeah.
certain, they too acknowledge that energy just transforms.
Transfers. Yes,
Transfers.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Now, I don't know if you know this, you probably don't. So I decided for season 2 that I was going to come because you know my favorite round is the rapid fire round for our special guests.
Yes.
And I decided for season 2 that we're going to come up with new questions.
Uh-oh.
And it's the podcast.
Oh, Jesus. Lamont. Jesus
You're the
and
winner.
Lamont.
And I know he did not read or see this, so it's gonna be real fresh off the
I
dome,
didn't see
guys.
it.
Oh, but Coach Cat, I believe in you.
All right,
I believe it. I know you
Here we
got
go.
this. I know you got this.
All
So
right.
here we
I'm ready.
go. Rapid fire season 2. Rapid fire.
How many questions are we doing?
for
Are we
our-
doing 3?
There's 3.
Okay. All right.
3. You're gonna love these. All right, Coach Kyle. What's one small decision you made that ended up creating a massive shift in your life?
I said hello to someone.
Game changer.
I said hello to someone a little over a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and now I work in IT.
I love it. Game changer.
It really
I
was a
love it.
game changer, you know, but at the same time, that same person is the one who kind of put me on this path of understanding about our energy and our souls, our inner beings, and all the stuff that we've talked about.
No, yes. I love that. What's the wildest or most spontaneous thing you've ever done in the name of personal development and growth?
I have that question
You
again,
have a lot.
please. I know, right? Can I have that question again?
Give me one. What's the wildest or most spontaneous thing that you've done in the name of personal development or growth?
I want to say it's most likely that I spent way more money than I had at one time for like a conference or something. But since I cannot pull that up directly, I will say this. When I got a text message saying, "Hey, are you coming to the men's retreat?" As if there was a conversation about the possibility of me going on this men's retreat. And instead of like going down that road, which is my MO, like I'll say, like, we've never talked about this. So, like, where is this
Women's
coming
retreat.
from? Like, where, yeah, I didn't do any of that. None of it. I just said,
Wow.
I'm
You
coming.
said yes.
I just said yes.
You said hello, and you said yes. Look
I
at
said
you.
yes, and I responded yes to that text message, and I don't remember how much it was, but it was like over $1,000, and I had to go to Zihuatanejo, Mexico, and it was a life-changing experience. So, as a matter of fact,
I
I
love
reap the benefits of that every day.
I love it. I love it. Dropping gems, dropping gems. Last but not least,
Yes.
if your mind had a theme song that played every time you had a breakthrough, what song would it be?
Well, I'm glad you said a breakthrough because I thought you was going to ask me what's the song that just plays on repeat in my head, and that would have been not. That would not have been consistent.
Let's be clear.
That would not be consistent with this show. Hey, not consistent with this show. No, they were like, what?
Right.
What?
Right.
Going through his like all the time? Yeah. So I'm glad. So can I have that question again? Because now that I have remembered, like now that I know it's not what I was originally thinking, I have forgotten what the question is now. So.
If your mind had a theme song that played every time you had a breakthrough, what song would it be?
My mind, every time I had a breakthrough. It's probably there's so many. There's so
I have mine. I
many
know my
songs.
Yeah.
But you put it in this thing called if I had the breakthrough, not prior to the breakthrough, not during the breakthrough, not when I need a breakthrough. It's after I've already had it.
After it, yeah.
I'm gonna go with oh shoot, now I gotta look up the title because you put me on the spot real quick.
You don't know the name of the song in your head?
I have to actually go through the listings and narrow it down.
Title.
How to narrow it down. It's probably Here We Go by Chris Classic.
How does that go?
You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it, but I will send it to you. It's hyped up.
Can we get a little big dun dun?
I don't know if it's gonna play well because I got my headset on. You're not gonna be able to hear it.
No, I mean you giving me a tune, a melody, or a beat.
It's a rap song, and it's when I send it to you, you'll understand why I couldn't like do it on the podcast.
What about the chorus?
There's no.
We can't even get the chorus.
There's no chorus.
Ooh. Okay.
And there is one other one that is very old school that I think I would also listen to when I've had my breakthrough. And it's Microphone Theme by Rakim and Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah. Well, now that one I know.
I was a fiend before I became a teen.
Yes,
I used to melt the microphone instead of coals of ice cream.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God, this has been a great episode.
Don't think you're going nowhere, Missy. Don't. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
All right.
And it will not fly.
What's one small decision I've made that ended up creating a massive shift in my life? Finding my voice, more specifically as a professional, as a Black woman in America. I believe there was a certain way I had to walk, talk, look to be accepted.
Yes.
In the space that I was in, because normally I was the only one.
Yep.
But once I found my voice and God reminded me that I am who I am.
Yeah.
And my background and where I come from don't dictate where I am. And I'm in the same places as these people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a game changer.
Do you
Definitely a game
remember
changer.
what
Finding
the
my voice.
small act was, though? Because you said finding your voice, but you had to do something to actually find the voice. So what was the act that caused you to find your voice?
It wasn't. It was just a switch in my head in terms of believing that, and I guess belief. Mindset. It was like a switch
All of a
to
sudden you
believe
believe.
that my voice mattered, because before I didn't.
Right.
So just switching to believing, oh yeah, girl, your voice matter. You
So that
matter.
act was
You're
believing in your voice, believing in your voice mattering.
yeah.
Very good.
That was the act.
I got it. All
Yeah,
right.
switching to yes. What's the wildest or most spontaneous thing you ever done in the name of personal growth? I don't know if this was spontaneous. It may appear to be spontaneous if you don't know the story behind it, but it was very wild. I did a pilgrimage and I backpacked and walked and hiked 172 miles from Portugal to Spain on the Camino de Santiago.
Just so you know, if you ever talk about the distance that I do on my bike, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, but I didn't walk 127 miles.
172, sir.
172, right? So I did select that thing, right? So I did not walk 172 miles. I have biked
Yeah.
127. I have biked
Yeah,
that,
there we go.
but
Yeah.
I have not walked 172 miles. So
I walked 102 miles. Yeah, in the name of personal development.
if I'm not mistaken, you were sick too, were you not? At the beginning of this?
Very. Very.
Yeah.
With nothing but what my backpack. Like, yeah, that's all
Didn't
I
you
had. My
also
back.
have like some fraud happen in your bank account at the same time that this pilgrimage was happening?
Yep, no money for several days.
Right.
And
Like,
I
I
had
don't
to
want the
trust.
audiences to think that, oh, she just walked 172 miles. No, no, this woman walked 172 miles while she was sick and had no
While
money.
I was sick, challenges, but the takeaway and what God showed me as a very type A control type of personality sometimes, and that's one side of the Gemini. Don't get it twisted. There's another side to the Gemini.
Yeah.
That's just one side.
Yeah.
One side is very free.
Yeah.
Fuck. And that's where I'm just gonna hike this come into play. But trust the process, because you're not gonna always have the answers. And a lot of times some of us feel like we have to have the answer before we even ask the question. And so that taught me to trust the process and to relax. Okay.
All right.
And
So
last but not least,
yes, because I got a call in like 4 minutes. So let's.
yes, theme song. It's always religious. It's always something religious. But here lately, it has been Journey. Don't stop believing. Don't stop.
That's my daughter's jam right there. Yeah, that's my youngest daughter's jam. That is.
Yes, that's what it's been lately. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and never would have made it. Donnie McClurkin.
Never would have made.
So,
Now I do have. If
yes.
we're gonna talk about religious songs, I do have one
What you
called
got?
"I Want It Back" by Ty Tribbett.
Wow.
That's my only
I
Ty
love.
Tribbett cut that I like. Like, I'm not into the gospel scene, but "I Want It All Back"
I love.
has some energy to it. So yeah,
Yeah, I love Ty and GA when he was with GA. Like, oh,
that was
chef's
it. That's from back then.
chef's kiss. Yes. Okay, we are at the beginning of season 2. We are so glad that here. If you're caught in this far, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all the things. Sharing is caring. Share it with someone that you feel can use a breakthrough, a soul shift in their life. Any final words, Coach Kyle?
I don't have any final words other than it was a pleasure being here and I thoroughly enjoyed this. Thoroughly.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys, make sure you let your soul glow.
So long, everyone.